The Michigan High School Athletic Association presents the Wrestling Finals. MHSAA Wrestling Finals are presented by the United Dairy Industry of Michigan, promoting healthy eating habits through the Sports Nutrition Award Program.
From the Kellogg Arena in downtown Battle Creek, the United Dairy Industry of Michigan presents an MHSAA Championship Network special. Today, it's the finals of the 1998 Division I and Division II Lower Peninsula Individual Wrestling Tournament. Hi, everybody. My name is Mark Crawford. Stick with us over the next hour. You'll see some of the best high school wrestlers in the United States. We'll crown 28 champions, 14 each in Division I and Division II from among the young men who are warming up behind me. We'll also take a look at an innovative new Sports Nutrition Award program that the United Dairy Industry of Michigan is running along with the MHSAA to promote proper nutrition. We'll start our review of the Division II championships in just a moment. Our program is sponsored by the United Dairy Industry of Michigan. Welcome back to the Kellogg Arena in Battle Creek. We start the Division II finals with the big guys in the 275-pound weight class. Andrew Tippins, a senior from Orchard Lake St. Mary, will face off against John Posey, a senior from Heartland. We pick up the action in the middle of the first period. Tippins is in the red singlet and Posey is in yellow. Posey has been warned for stalling, so he picks up the pace, trying to set up an opportunity for a takedown. After Tippins gets hit with a stall warning, he reaches for a single and trips Posey at the end of the mat for a takedown and a 2-point lead. Still in the first with Tippins up 2-0, he drives Posey to his back. Posey struggles to get free. Tippins moves into a front headlock, bundling both of Posey's arms. Posey continues to struggle, but Tippins settles in for the pin, winning the Division II title with a fall at 134 into the match. We move now to the 103-pound weight class in Division II, where Brett West, a senior from Lowell, takes on Kyle Brower, a senior from Middleville Thornapple Kellogg. We pick up the match late in the first period. Brower reaches for a high single. West is in red and Brower in black. West attempts to counter, but Brower works a leg in, getting the takedown. The period ends with Brower ahead 2-0. Late in the second period, Brower comes to his feet. As West drives him to the mat, Brower switches and takes West to his back for a 3-point near fall. The period ends with Brower holding a commanding 7-0 lead. In the third period now, with Brower on top, he has controlled the entire match. West does a good job countering Brower's attempt at a guillotine, but Brower changes off to a cross-face cradle, taking West to his back. West struggles to break the cradle, but Brower is too much. He gets the pin and the Division II 103-pound state title. On to the Division II 112-pound weight class with Scott Pushman, a sophomore from Fenton, and Angelo Vatisse, a freshman from Auburn Hills, Avondale. Action in the first period and no score. Pushman in the tie-up. Vatisse counters with a shuck to step behind. Pushman counters the takedown attempt and scores the 2 at the edge of the mat. The period ends with Pushman up 2-0. We move to the second period now with both wrestlers neutral. After several attempts for an ankle pick from the tie-up, he is finally successful at the edge of the mat with 28 seconds left in the period. In the third period, with Pushman ahead 4-0, Vatisse is on top. Pushman sits and spins to score the one-point escape, giving him a 5-0 lead. Later in the third, Vitesse scores with a single leg, making the score 5-2. We move to action with just over a minute left in the match. Pushman is just too much for Vitesse. He escapes again, increasing his score to 6-2. Vitesse continued his scoring attempts, but neither wrestler could score. Match ended with the sophomore from Fenton, Scott Pushman, winning the Division II 112-pound title 6-2. Next up is the Division II 119-pounders with Joe Ray Berry, a junior from Mason, and Ted Pridemore, a sophomore from Monroe Jefferson. The action starts at the whistle in this match. Berry gets deep on a double leg for the two-point takedown. Berry, with a 51-0 record, makes his second appearance in the finals. He won the Division II 103-pound state title last year as a sophomore. Pridemore makes his first appearance in the finals with a 40-10 record. Berry is in the red and blue singlet, and Pridemore is in blue. Still early in the first, and Berry is working for the pin with a three-quarter Nelson. Pridemore works to get free, but the more experienced defending state champ from Mason is just too tough. This match ends with a fall 38 seconds into the first period. Joe Ray Berry picks up his second state title in the Division II 119-pound weight class. Joe Ray commented about his opponent and his victory after the match.
I went out and I wrestled tall. I got a quick shot on the kid, and I ended up pinning him in a mousetrap in 38 seconds. It's really tough. He's a tough kid. He's only a sophomore, and he's going to do really well. I wrestled him at districts and regionals, so I kind of knew what to expect. I knew what he liked to do and stuff. And last year I was state champ, and I don't know, I'm just kind of looking forward to next year. I don't know, I'm glad I got through this year undefeated, and last year I went undefeated too, and I'm glad I went through, and I sold for another good season next year, and I just like to hopefully come back. I'd like to make it here next year again.
We've got more action in just a moment. Today's program is sponsored by the United Dairy Industry of Michigan. Welcome back, everyone, to the Kellogg Arena. We continue now with the Division II 125-pound weight class with Tommy Harris, a sophomore from Harper Woods, Notre Dame, and Derek Phillips, a senior from Grosse Pointe North. We pick up the action late in the first period. Phillips scoops the leg. As Harris tries to break away, Phillips changes to a quick double and barely scores the takedown at the edge of the mat, giving him the 2-0 lead at the end of the first period. Early in the second period now. Both men are working for the takedown when Phillips pulls Harris to the mat, traps one leg, scoops the other, and scores another edge-of-the-mat takedown, giving him a 4-0 lead. Still in the second, Phillips gets too high on a leg ride, and Harris escapes out the back door, making the score 4-1. Late in the second period, Harris tries to work for the takedown from the tie-up. Phillips shucks him by, drops to a double, and scores his third edge-of-the-mat takedown, giving him a 6-1 lead going into the final period. Start of the third period now. Harris lets Phillips go, giving him the escape and a 7-1 lead. Harris' strategy to make his comeback with takedowns fails when Phillips gets deep on a single and scores his fourth takedown, giving him a commanding 9-1 lead. We are late in the third now, with Phillips working to turn Harris. Phillips placed second last year in the 119-pound weight class and has a 52-3 record this year. Continuing to work for the pin, Phillips finally turns Harris and scores the three-point near fall. The match ends with Phillips winning the Division II 125-pound weight class 12-1. We move now to the 130-pound weight class. Rick Rank, a junior from Algonac, will face off against Keith Scott, a junior from Trenton. This match has all the ingredients of a showdown. Rank placed second last year at 103, and Scott placed third at 112. We pick up the action in the middle of the first. As Rank reaches for a single, Scott hammers him with a headlock and the takedown for two. Still in the first, Rank will even the match when Scott gets out of position on a leg ride, allowing Rank the two-point reversal. The period ends tied at 2 apiece. In the second period now, with Rank starting in the down position. With the score tied at 2 each, Scott is working to turn Rank. But the tough junior from Algonac has other ideas and scores the escape and takes a 3-2 lead. Later in the second now, both men neutral. Scott gets in deep with an underhook, steps in to trip Rank for the takedown and the lead. The period will end with Scott holding a slim 4-3 advantage. Late in the third period, with Rank on top and working to turn Scott. Scott does a shoulder roll for a reversal, giving him a 6-3 advantage. Rank comes into this match with a 43-5 record. Scott boasts a 50-3 record. Scott steps deep to take Rank to the mat and is back scoring the 3-point near fall. The match would end with Keith Scott winning the 130-pound title 9-3. Next up is the 135-pound weight class with Tony Hollifield, a senior from Mount Morris, and David Getz, a junior from Auburn Hills, Avondale. Beginning of the first period, and Hollifield will strike first when he gets deep on a single. Hollifield was the state champ in the 125-pound weight class last year. His record this year is an amazing 56-0. The challenger Getz brings a 46-10 record to the finals. The period will end with Hollifield holding a slim 2-0 advantage. Early in the second period, Hollifield would score again, coming to his feet and scoring the quick escape, taking a 3-0 lead. Seconds later, Hollifield has Getz in a front headlock, scoots behind for the takedown, and the 5-0 advantage. Final seconds of the second period, and Hollifield finally turns Getz for a 3-point near fall. The period ends with Hollifield ahead 8-0. Finally, late in the third period, Getz gets on the board with this edge of the mat escape. The match ends, and Tony Hollifield wins his second state title 8-1. Next is the 140-pound weight class with Charlie Sageman, a senior from Bridgeport, and Josh Wright, a junior from Eaton Rapids. Start of the first, and Sageman gets busy right away with this quick single to take the lead 2-0. 39 seconds left in the first period. Sageman is in the red singlet and Wright is in the maroon. Wright will get on the board with this stand-up. Neither wrestler could score after Wright's escape. The period ends with Sageman having a 2-1 advantage. Neither wrestler scored in the second period, so we pick up the action in the third. Wright comes to his feet. Sageman can't hold him and lets him go. Wright's escape ties the score at 2-2. Sageman is a veteran of the finals. He was here last year and placed second at 135. He has an impressive 55-0 record this year. Wright, a junior, comes to the finals with a 48-2 record. Sageman will take the 4-2 lead with this takedown. Late in the third now, with Sageman working to turn Wright. This has been a tough, close match for both wrestlers. But Sageman will put it away with this half to score a 2-point near fall and win the Division II 140-pound title 6-2. On to the 145-pound weight class with Greg Cooley, a senior from Trenton, against Brent Young, a senior from Chelsea. We pick up the action in the first period. Young is in the yellow and black, and Cooley is in the navy singlet. Both of these wrestlers placed last year. Young was 5th at 140, and Cooley was 8th at 145. Cooley gets on the board first with this takedown. Still in the first, with Cooley working to turn Young. Cooley gets out of position, and Young backs out to score the escape. The period ends with Cooley taking a narrow 2-1 lead into the second. With no scoring in the second, we move to action in the third. Young turns him but can't score the near fall. Cooley will escape, improving his score to 3-1. Later in the third, with Young on the attack, he has Cooley in a front headlock. Watch now as he blocks his leg and puts Cooley on his back for a 2-point takedown and 3-point near fall. The 5-point move gives Young the comeback 6-3 lead. Late in the match, after Young is awarded a penalty point, Cooley escapes. But the match ends with an elated Brent Young winning the 145-pound title. Stay with us. We've got more Division II action in just a minute. Welcome back, everyone. Let's move on to the Division II 152-pound weight class, where Charlie Taft, a senior from Battle Creek, Harper Creek, will face off against Brad Lusk, a junior from Heartland. We are in the first now. Lusk is in the yellow singlet and has a 53-2 record. Taft is in blue and placed third last year at 160. Taft is 41-3 this year. Taft will score first with this quick single to take a 2-0 lead into the second period. With not much offense in the second, we move to action early in the third. Taft will improve his score to 3-0 with this escape. Lusk will come right back with this takedown, making the score 3-2 and pulling himself within 1. Middle of the third, and Taft will escape, improving his score to 4-2. Final seconds of the period now, and Taft puts the match away with this takedown, winning the 152-pound weight class 6-2. Next up is the 160-pound weight class. Spencer Rompf, a senior from Middleville Thornapple Kellogg, and Brad Trompin, a senior from Grand Rapids Forest Hills Northern. Rompf will score first in this match when he gets in on a single and has Trompin off balance. A quick trip, and Rompf has the early 2-0 lead. Late in the first, Trompin will get on the board with this flurry, making the score 2-1 in favor of Rompf to end the first. Early in the second, Rompf will take a 3-1 lead with this stand-up and escape. In the third now, Trompin starts his comeback with this quick escape. Still in the third, and Rompf gets deep on a double. Trompin fights him off and counters to score the takedown and to take a 4-3 lead. The match would end with Trompin taking the Division II 160-pound title 4-3. Let's move now to the 171-pound weight class. Brett Faustman, a senior from Mason, and Bill Blair, a junior from Hastings, will square off. We pick up the action in the second period with the score 0-0. Faustman is in the red and blue singlet, and Blair is in the navy and yellow. Faustman placed 5th last year at 171 and has a 50-2 record this year. Blair didn't place last year, but has done well this year with a 43-7 record. This match would come to a quick end when Faustman turns Blair and cradles him for the pin. The senior from Mason wins the 171-pound title with a fall in 2:28. Next are the 189-pounders. From Mason, a senior Jake Herrera, and from Zeeland, senior Jeff Vredeveld. We are in the first with Vredeveld in deep on a single. Herrera counters to score the takedown and take a 2-0 lead. Still in the first, Vredeveld will get on the board with this escape from a stand-up. The period would end with Herrera holding a slim 2-1 lead. Second period now. Herrera in the red and blue placed 5th last year at 160. He has a 51-1 record this year. Vredeveld comes in with a 31-2 record. Herrera will take a 5-1 lead with this 3-point near fall from the cradle. Vredeveld, still scrapping, comes to his feet with this wicked escape. These two guys went at each other like this for the entire match. The period ends with Herrera ahead 5-2 going into the third. Start of the third period, Herrera comes to his feet and scores at the edge of the mat. These guys really went after each other in the final seconds of the match, but neither wrestler could score. Herrera would earn the 189-pound title with a 6-2 score. In the final Division II bout, we have Bill Stauffer, a sophomore from Lowell, and Dean Myers, a junior from Cedar Springs. We pick up the action late in the second period. Myers scores first with this quick reversal. Stauffer placed 6th at 2:15 as a freshman. He has a 48-4 record this year. Myers has an impressive 45-3 record. With the second period coming to an end, Stauffer comes to his feet. Myers can't hold and lets him go. The period would end with Myers holding a slim 2-1 lead going into the third. Stauffer will score an escape when Myers gets out of position. It's 2-2 early in the third. Late in the third period, Myers will score the takedown after Stauffer shoots. Myers shucks him by to take a 4-2 lead. With seconds remaining, Stauffer escapes with a shoulder roll, but it's not enough, and Dean Myers wins the 215-pound title 4-3. We've got more action to come in Division I. You're watching the MHSAA Championship Network. Welcome back to the Kellogg Arena in Battle Creek. I'm Mark Crawford, and we are about to start the Division I individual wrestling finals with the heavyweights in the 275-pound weight class. Tonight we have Casey Rogowski, a junior from Detroit Catholic Central. His opponent, Charlie Hamblin, a junior from Plymouth-Salem. We pick up the match early in the first. Rogowski gets the scoring started when he gets deep on a single and muscles Hamblin to the mat. Later in the first, after Hamblin escapes, Rogowski, with some uncanny speed for a heavyweight, will shoot on a single, score the takedown and a 2-point near fall, giving him a 6-1 lead going into the second period. In the second period, with Rogowski on top, Hamblin will escape, making the score 6-2. Hamblin comes into the finals with a 38-10 record, while Rogowski brings an impressive 44-0 mark to the finals. Closing seconds of the second period, Rogowski sets Hamblin up for a well-executed ankle pick, scoring the takedown and taking an 8-2 lead into the third. Start of the third, and Rogowski escapes at the whistle, putting this match away. Later in the third, Rogowski picks up a penalty point after Hamblin is called for stalling. The match ends with Rogowski finishing his season with a 45-0 record and winning the 275-pound state championship 10-2. Next up is the 103-pound weight class with Craig Trombley, a sophomore from New Baltimore Anchor Bay, and Scott Norton, a sophomore from Romeo. We are early in the first. Norton is in the red and white singlet, and Trombley is in the all red. Norton gets the action started early when he gets deep on a single and scores the takedown, giving him an early 2-0 lead. Late in the first, Norton turns Trombley for a 2-point near fall, improving his score to 4-0. In the second period, with Trombley on top, Norton will set up a Peterson roll and score the 2-point reversal. Both of these kids are sophomores and come into this match with only 4 losses. Middle of the third period, Norton gets deep on a single. Trombley's efforts to counter are unsuccessful. This match is all Norton as the sophomore from Romeo wins the Division I 103-pound title 8-0. We move on to the 112-pounders. Jim Borowski, a senior from Romeo, will face off against A.J. Grant, a junior from Clarkston. Late in the first period, Grant is in the yellow singlet and Borowski in the red and white. With seconds remaining, Borowski is in on a single, but Grant counters with an ankle pick to score. Middle of the second, and Borowski will get on the board with this quick escape. Both of these wrestlers are experienced. Borowski is a senior with a 36-6 record. Grant, a junior, placed third last year at 103 and has a 49-0 record. Late in the second, with the score 2-1, Grant shoots a double. Borowski, with this unusual counter, can't fight it off. Grant eventually scores the takedown, giving him a 4-1 lead. With the final seconds ticking away in the second, Grant turns Borowski with a cradle for a 2-point near fall, taking a 6-1 lead into the third. In the third period now, Grant will put this match away with a high crotch to a double, scoring the takedown. The match would end with Grant winning the 112-pound title 8-1. Next up is the 119-pound weight class with Ricky Torrence, a senior from Northville, against Monty Lewis, a senior from Sterling Heights. At the opening whistle, Torrence shoots, getting the action going right away. He'll score the takedown, giving him a quick 2-0 lead. Torrence is in the all-black singlet. Working for the pin, he turns Lewis for a 2-point near fall, extending his lead to 4-0. Later in the first, Lewis scores an escape, then gets deep on a single. Torrence counters with a wicked chin rip to score the takedown and take a 6-1 lead into the second. Second period now, Lewis shoots, but Torrence fights him off again to score the takedown. These two guys met last year at 112 to battle for 5th and 6th. Lewis won that match 3-1. But this year it's all Torrence. He has an 8-1 lead and is working for more. Moving to the middle of the second period, Torrence turns Lewis, then pins him with a reverse half, avenging last year's loss and winning the 119-pound title with a fall at 3:08 into the match. Stay with us, we've got more Division I action in just a minute. Welcome back. We're at the Kellogg Arena and ready to start the Division I 125-pound weight class with Nick Trombley, a senior from New Baltimore Anchor Bay, and Jason Amell, a junior from Highland Milford. We start the action in the middle of the first. Trombley is in the red singlet and Amell is in the yellow and maroon. After Amell shoots, Trombley fights him off with a whizzer. Then Trombley scores the first takedown with a fireman's carry, giving him the 2-0 lead. Start of the second, and Trombley escapes at the whistle. Trombley placed third last year at 112 and has a 43-1 record. Amell has a 49-3 record. Amell shoots and Trombley counters with another whizzer. Trombley shoots another fireman's carry and scores, giving him a 5-0 advantage. Late in the second, with Trombley working for the pin, he drives Amell over with a punishing chicken wing to score the 3-point near fall. The period ends with Trombley holding a comfortable 8-0 lead. Amell will finally get on the board in the third when he reverses Trombley in the leg ride, making the score 8-2. Later in the third, after Amell lets Trombley escape, he double underhooks for a throw. Trombley's counter fails, and Amell scores the takedown. He immediately lets him up to go after another takedown, but the match would end with Trombley winning the 125-pound title 10-4. Next in Division I is the 130-pound weight class with Rock Palazzolo, a junior from Chippewa Valley, facing off against Jared Martin, a senior from Muskegon Reeves Puffer. We pick up the action in the first period with Martin scoring first, driving Palazzolo to the mat for the takedown and taking a 2-0 lead into the second period. Second period, and Palazzolo is on top, working for the pin. Martin will score a reversal here when Palazzolo gets out of position on a leg ride. The period ends with Martin ahead 4-0. Final seconds of the third period, Palazzolo finally gets on the board after Martin gets hit with a stalling call. Both of these wrestlers have had exceptional seasons. Palazzolo came into the finals with a 43-1 record and was 5th last year at 125. Martin was first last year at 119 and brings a 47-0 record to the finals this year. The match ends with Martin winning his second state title 4-1. We move now to the 135-pound weight class with Dan Cedar, a senior from Livonia Stevenson, and Curtis Villar, a senior from East Detroit. We're in the first with just under 1:30 left. Cedar shoots a single. Villar tries to counter, but Cedar will work his way up the legs. Villar has to give up his counter to prevent giving up back points. Cedar scores the takedown and takes an early 2-0 lead. With about 40 seconds left in the first, Villar sits out for an escape. Cedar does a nice job to counter, but Villar will sit out again and score the escape. Neither wrestler could generate any offense in the second period, and both were warned for stalling. Falar will get a penalty point in the third after Cedar gets hit with another stalling call. This will send the match into overtime. In OT, both wrestlers get hit with stalling. This makes the score an even 3 apiece, sending this match into double overtime. Both of these guys are tough, solid wrestlers. Falar placed 5th last year at 130 and has a 40-1 record. Cedar brings a 50-1 record to these finals. But Falar will prevail in this match. He sits and spins to escape and win the Division I 135-pound weight class 4-3. On to the 140-pound weight class. We have Morgan Mullins, a senior from Belleville, against John Reed, a senior from Bay City Western. The action starts in the first with these two guys really going at each other. Mullins is in the black singlet and Reed is in the yellow. Mullins scores first in this flurry, taking a 2-0 lead. Seconds later in the first, Reed comes back with a stand-up and escapes, making the score 2-1. Still in the first period, Mullins sets up a beautiful high crotch to score his second takedown. He rides him out the rest of the period and takes a 4-1 lead into the second. Early in the second now, with Mullins on top, Reed will back out of the Mullins ride to score an escape, making the score 4-2. Still early in the second, Reed reaches for a single. Mullen counters with this pancake move and hammers Reed to the mat for his third takedown and a 6-2 lead. Less than a minute in the second, Reed comes to his feet at the edge of the mat to escape again. This cuts the lead to 6-3. Under 30 seconds in the second, Reed reaches again for a single. Mullins counters with another pancake, this time driving Reed to his back for a takedown and a 2-point near fall. This match was close till this point. Mullins starts to pull away with a 10-3 lead going into the third. In the third period now, Mullins will shoot this time. He keeps driving and his persistence pays off, scoring another takedown to extend his lead to 12-3. Seconds later, Reed battles back with an escape and starts another attack, but Mullins fights him off near the edge of the mat. With lots of time in the third, Reed is determined to come back. He tries to headlock Mullins, but Mullins slips the move and scores the takedown. Reed roars back with this reversal. The flurry ends with Reed on top, but Mullins has the 14-6 lead. Final seconds of the third with Mullins up 15-6. These guys are still working hard. But the match ends with Morgan Mullins winning the Division I 140-pound title. Next up are the guys at 145. We have Russell Clark, a senior from Holt, versus Brad Anderson from Grand Rapids Forest Hills Central. We pick up the action in the first with Clark in on a single and Anderson fighting him off with a whizzer. Clark stays with the single and scores the takedown to take the early 2-0 lead in this wild match. Anderson escapes, then seconds later attacks with this takedown, taking the 3-2 lead. Early in the second, with Clark on top, Anderson will hit a switch, change to a double, and score the 2-point reversal, giving him a 5-2 lead. Still in the second, Anderson cradles Clark, taking him to his back for a 2-point near fall. Both of these wrestlers have had outstanding seasons. Clark has been first at every tournament this year and has a 51-0 record. Anderson, just a sophomore, has a 46-2 record coming into the finals. We're in the third with the score 7-3 after Anderson gets called for stalling. Clark starts his comeback with this reversal, pulling within 2. Anderson escapes, making the score 8-5. Clark comes right back with this snap down for a takedown, pulling this match within 1 at 8-7. Seconds later, Anderson escapes at the edge of the mat, making the score 9-7 with over a minute left in the match. With lots of time left in the third, Clark keeps coming. But Anderson is ready and scoops Clark in a double leg to score again and extend his lead to 11-7. After Clark escapes, Anderson puts this match away with one final takedown to win the state title at 145 13-8. More to come. Stay with us. Today's program is sponsored by the United Dairy Industry of Michigan. We're back at the Kellogg Arena and starting the 152-pound weight class with Carl Nadolski, a senior from Holland, West Ottawa, and Mike Klein from East Detroit. Neither wrestler scored in the first, so we pick up the action in the second. Nadolski started the period by giving up an escape to Anderson. Anderson underhooks to throw, but Nadolski slips the move and scores the takedown, taking the lead in the match 2-1. Seconds later, Nadolski lets him go, tying the score at 2 apiece. With a minute left in the second, Nadolski shoots a single, then changes to a double. Anderson's efforts to counter are unsuccessful, and Nadolski takes him to his back for the takedown and a 2-point near fall, giving him a 6-2 lead. With 30 seconds left in the second, Nadolski lets him go again. The period ends with Nadolski leading 6-3. We move to the third period with a minute left. Nadolski will shoot a double and drive Anderson to the mat, extending his lead to 8-3. After Anderson escapes, he goes on the attack with this takedown attempt. Nadolski counters to take a 10-4 lead. With the final seconds ticking away, Anderson escapes. Anderson picks up one more point after Nadolski gets hit with a stalling call. But it's not enough. Carl Nadolski wins the 152-pound title 10-6. We asked Carl after his match to recap his career and to comment about today's victory.
Well, I won it my freshman year, and my sophomore year I got second, and last year I was really close, and it just fell apart at the end after I thought I had it. And this year, after I won it, it was almost more of a relief than overjoy because I knew I had it behind me now.
Next up is the 160-pound weight class with Steve Bright, a senior from Swartz Creek, and Aaron Green, a senior from Wyandotte Roosevelt. We pick up the action in the second period with Green ahead 2-0. Bright is in the red singlet and Green is in the blue. Bright comes to his feet for the escape. Green throws the bear hug on him and hammers him to the mat for a 2-point near fall and a 4-0 lead. We move to action late in the third. Green is working the crab ride to perfection. Here he turns Bright for a 2-point near fall. This match would be all Green. He wins the Division I 160-pound title 9-zip. We move on to the 171-pound weight class where Miles Clement, a senior from Flint Carman Ainsworth, will challenge Ryan Cox from Wyandotte Roosevelt. The action starts in the first period when Clement shoots a high crotch, lifts Cox in the air, then drives him to the mat for a takedown. Still in the first, Clement is in the light blue singlet and Cox is in the navy and yellow. Cox will sit out here for the escape, making the score 2-1. Action in the second period now. Clement is working the half Nelson to perfection. He drives Cox over for a 2-point near fall, extending his lead to 4-1. Cox escapes again and continues to chip away at the Clement lead. Still in the second, Clement continues his pursuit and scores an edge-of-the-mat takedown, giving him a 6-2 lead. With less than a minute left in the second, Cox roars back with this reversal, making the score 6-4. These two guys battled through the third. Neither wrestler could generate any offense, and the match would end with Miles Clement winning the Division I 171-pound title 6-4. On to the 189-pound match with Kevin Boyd, a junior from Rochester Adams, wrestling against Pat DeGean, a sophomore from Clarkston. We pick up the action in the middle of the first. Boyd is wearing the yellow and white singlet, and DeGean is in the yellow with black stripes. DeGean scores first with this throw at the edge of the mat, giving him a 2-0 lead. With time running out in the first, DeGean throws in a chicken wing. As Boyd tries to sit out, DeGean sucks him back, puts in a half, and scores the 3-point near fall. DeGean takes a 5-0 lead into the second. In the second period now, Boyd will get on the board with a sit-out to an escape, making the score 5-1. Still in the second, Boyd shoots. DeGane counters by stepping aside and slipping behind to score another takedown, giving him a 7-1 advantage. Further action in the second. Boyd comes to his feet. DeGane bear hugs him back to the mat and scores a 2-point near fall. Seconds later, Boyd tries to sit out. DeGane again drives him back to the mat. This time scoring a 3-point near fall and taking a commanding 12-1 lead into the third. Late in the third now, with Boyd picking up the pace after a DeGane escape. Both of these wrestlers have had fine seasons. Boyd has a 45-10 record coming into this match, and DeGane is 40-0. But this match has been all DeGane. The sophomore from Clarkston wins his first state title at 189, 13-1. On to the final match in Division I, the 215-pound weight class with Leroy Johnson, a senior from Monroe, and Nick Vandenberg, a senior from Rockford. We pick up the action in the second period. Vandenberg has a 1-0 lead after Johnson is called for stalling in the first. Johnson is in the red and white singlet, and Vandenberg is in the black, red, and white singlet. Johnson is the defending state champ at 215 and hopes to add his second title to his record. But Vandenberg has other ideas. He escapes here with a stand-up, giving him a 2-0 lead. With just under 1:30 in the second, Johnson goes to work. He shoots and scores to even the match at 2 apiece. Seconds later, as Vandenberg comes to his feet, Johnson tries to cradle him, but Vandenberg spins out to avoid the cradle and scores an escape, giving him a 3-2 lead. With time running out in the second period, Vandenberg will go on the offensive. He shoots on a double. Johnson has no chance of fighting him off, and Vandenberg scores the takedown at the edge of the mat, giving him a 5-2 lead going into the third. Start of the third period. Johnson comes roaring back with this escape, making the score 5-3. Both of these guys have had excellent seasons. Johnson is 46-1 and Vandenberg is 43-2. With a minute left in the match, Johnson shoots a double and drives Vandenberg to the mat, tying the score at 5-5. With the final seconds ticking away, Johnson cradles Vandenberg to try and turn him. Johnson needs to put him on his back for the win, but Vandenberg stays tough. The third period ends with the score tied 5-5. This match is going into overtime. We are in OT. The 215-pound state championship is on the line. The first wrestler to score wins the title. This has been a great match. Each wrestler has worked hard. Johnson is determined to repeat. He shoots in on a double. Vandenberg struggles to fight him off, but Johnson is too much. The senior from Monroe repeats as state champ, winning in overtime 7-5. We talked with Leroy about his victory after the match.
I had seen him to get in the semifinals last year. I knew what I had to do to win. I'm sure he did his studying up on me. He knew what he had to do to win. And it just came down to who wants it more, who just came through in the end. And I don't think anybody could have wanted it more than me.
We hope you've enjoyed our presentation of the Division I and II wrestling finals. Join us next year when the finals move to the Joe Louis Arena in downtown Detroit. For our production crew, the Multicom Group in Lansing, I'm Mark Crawford. So long, everybody.
The Michigan High School Athletic Association presents the Wrestling Finals. MHSAA Wrestling Finals are presented by the United Dairy Industry of Michigan, promoting healthy eating habits through the Sports Nutrition Award Program.
From University Arena on the campus of Western Michigan University in Kalamazoo, the United Dairy Industry of Michigan presents an MHSAA Championship Network special. Today, it's the finals of the 1998 Division III and Division IV Lower Peninsula Individual Wrestling Tournament. Hi, everybody. I'm Mark Crawford. Glad to have you along. Over the next hour, we'll settle 28 championships here, 14 in Division III, 14 in Division IV, and you'll see some of the finest high school wrestlers anywhere in the United States. Along the way, we'll tell you about an innovative new Sports Nutrition Award program sponsored by the United Dairy Industry of Michigan and the Michigan High School Athletic Association. The consolation matches are wrapping up. Championship matches coming up. Your sponsor of this program is the United Dairy Industry of Michigan. Welcome back to University Arena in Kalamazoo. We'll begin with the highlights of the finals at 275 pounds in Division III. From Remus, Chippewa Hills, it's Bob Kozlowski going against Phil Millerov from Cairo. Kozlowski, a senior in the blue, comes into the finals with a 41-3 record, while Millerov, a sophomore, is 50-5. Kozlowski tries a single leg but loses it. Millerov tries a head throw, slips off, and Kozlowski gets the takedown to lead 2-0. Half a minute left now in the first period, and Millerov gets to his feet and out for the escape, and it's 2-1 Kozlowski. Start of the second period. Millerov goes for a near side cradle, but Kozlowski comes up and out for the escape, and it's 3-1. Late in the third now, and Millerov has escaped. Both wrestlers have been penalized for stalling, so it's 4-3 Kozlowski. Millerov shoots, but Kozlowski comes around for two. Millerov escapes as time runs out, but Bob Kozlowski wins it 6-4 to become the champ at 275. Next up at 103 pounds, we've got Dan Jones from Goodrich and Nick Simmons from Williamston. Both wrestlers come into this finals match undefeated this year with identical 49-0 records. Jones shoots but can't get in deep enough. Simmons tries a throw-by, but Jones gets a leg. Now Simmons gets the legs in and gets the two for a takedown. Simmons continues to use the legs, but gets too high, and Jones comes out the back door for the reversal. In the second period now, score 2-2 with Simmons on top. Still using those legs, he manages to ride Jones out for the rest of the period. In the third period, with Jones on top, Simmons working to break that grip. He hits a switch and comes around for the reversal and goes up 4-2. And Nick Simmons wins it to go undefeated as a freshman. I expect we'll see a lot more of him in the years to come. Now at 112 pounds, Nate Froese from Howard City, Tri-County will go against Tristan Perez of Lakeview. Both wrestlers are returning medalists from last year. Froese took 6th at 112 and Perez 1st at 103. Perez tries a whizzer, then steps across for a throw, but Froese brings him down to the mat for two. Still in the first, Froese working on that arm with the leg in. He gets a crossface and turns Perez for a 2-point near fall. Second period now, and Perez has escaped to make it 4-1. It looks like he's got Froese down, but Froese rolls through to get the takedown and another 2-point near fall. Froese riding with the legs in. He gets too high, and Perez gets the reversal, making it 8-3. In the third, Froese has been penalized 1 point for stalling. Perez gets behind for 2, making it 8-6. Perez lets Froese up, but he can't get a takedown. Froese is penalized 3 more points for stalling, sending the match into overtime. A minute gone in OT. Froese shoots. Perez counters, but can't get behind him. And Froese gets the takedown to win it 11-9. Our next match features Devin Wynn of Parma Western and Abe Perez of Lakeview at 119 pounds. We pick up the action in the first period with Perez leading 2-1. Both wrestlers placed at the same weight last year, Wynn taking second place and Perez, who is undefeated this year, taking fourth. Perez has a leg, finally picks him up and gets 2 more to make it 4-1. Second period now, Wynn trying to stand up. Perez tries to drive him over, but Wynn gets up and comes around for the reversal. An escape by Perez raises the score to 5-3, and now in the third, Wynn on top needs points. He gets a near side cradle and puts Perez on his back for a 3-point near fall. Perez comes around, but they're off the mat, and he gets 1 point for an escape. Near the end of the third, and it's tied 6-6. Wynn gets behind for a takedown. Perez gets to his feet, but Wynn stays with him. Now Perez gets a leg. And the 2, and we've got another overtime. Both wrestlers looking for an opening. Wynn gets behind for the takedown to become the champ at 119 by a score of 10-8. We've got more action in a moment. Today's program is sponsored by the United Dairy Industry of Michigan. We're back at University Arena in Kalamazoo with highlights of the finals at 125 pounds. From Constantine, a junior with a 58-1 record, Jared Ambrus will face Jake Clark, a senior from Montrose. We'll pick up the action in the second period with Ambrus on top behind 2-1. Both these wrestlers were third-place finishers here last year, Clark at 112 and Ambrus at 119. Now Clark steps across and rolls out for the escape, going up 3-1. But Ambrus comes right back with a double, picks him up, and brings him back down to the mat for 2, and it's tied 3-3. Now Clark sits out. Ambrus hangs on. But Clark breaks his hold and comes out with the escape. Ambrus shoots in deep again and works up under Clark. He takes him up again and down for 2 to lead 5-4. An escape and takedown in the third period has Ambrus ahead 8-4. Clark gets to his feet and out for 1. He steps in for a head throw, but Ambrus slips out and behind for the takedown. And Jared Ambrus wins it at 125 pounds with a score 10-5. Next up at 130 pounds, it will be Jeff Heiser from Byron Center and Lance Richards from Battle Creek Penfield. First period, no score yet. Richards in the Penfield green and Heiser wearing the black and orange. Heiser finally gets behind for the 2. But Richards comes right back up and out for 1. Second period now with Heiser starting down. He gets to one knee, then up and out for the escape. Start of the third, and Richards is down 3-1. He gets to his feet and spins out for the escape. 1 minute to go, and Richards behind 3-2 has a leg. But Heiser works it in for control and a takedown. He reaches for the guillotine. Richards rolls and almost comes out, but Heiser gets him on his back for a 3-point near fall. And Jeff Heiser wins 8-2 to become the champ at 130 pounds. Next up, the finals at 135 pounds with Winston Ruffin of Montrose going against Paul Pycraft of Wyoming Godwin Heights. We'll pick up the action at the top of the second period with Ruffin, who was the runner-up at 130 last year, on the bottom, up 2-1. He gets to his feet and out for an escape. Still neutral. Ruffin reaches across for a leg and the takedown. Now he gets a near side cradle and takes Pycraft over on his back for a 3-point near fall. That makes it 8-1 Ruffin. Late in the second, and Pycraft comes out for an escape to make it 8-2. Third period now with Ruffin on top, leading 10-4. He gets that cradle again, drives Pycraft over, and that's it. Winston Ruffin wins it with a fall to become the champ at 135. Next at 140 pounds, we've got Eddie Rosecrans from Parma Western and Tyler Nowitzki from Ida. We go to action in the first period. No score yet. Nowitzki in the blue and Rosecrans, who took second at 135 last year, in the maroon and yellow. Rosecrans gets in on an ankle and gets the takedown. In the second period now, with the score still 2-0. Nowitzki comes around, picks up a leg, and steps over for the reversal. It's tied now, 2-2. Third period now. Still on their feet after Rosecrans elected a neutral start. Now he gets the takedown and goes up 4-2. 10 seconds left in the match, and Nowitzki breaks loose and comes around for two, sending it into overtime. Half a minute into OT. Rosecrans gets in, works his way up, finally gets control. Eddie Rosecrans wins it 6-4 in overtime. We'll go to the 145-pound class now with Louis DeRosia from Remus Chippewa Hills up against Robert Wellman of Fowlerville. Both juniors, each of these wrestlers has lost only once this season. Wellman gets in for the takedown. It's 2-0. Start of the second period. Wellman hits a switch, steps over for the reversal, and has DeRosia in trouble. A 3-point near fall makes it 7-0. Wellman stays in control for most of the period, but DeRosia finally works to his feet and out for the escape. Time running out in the third now with Wellman up 7-4. He gets behind for another takedown, and Robert Wellman is the champ at 145. We caught up with Robert at the award stand.
I've come a long way since last year. It's an unbelievable feeling to feel all the pressure has felt like it's been left off. It's hard to describe. It feels great, actually. Exhausted.
We'll be back with more action in a moment. Today's program is sponsored by the United Dairy Industry of Michigan. We're back with the Division III wrestling finals at University Arena in Kalamazoo. At 152 pounds, Tom Dimitrov of Benzie Central will be up against Kevin Spiess from Ovid Elsie. End of the first period. Spiess in the blue and gold took second last year. He gets behind and gets the takedown. Spiess takes the down position at the top of the second. He hits a switch, then comes around on a leg. Still working for control. Now he goes for the cradle, and Dimitrov is on his back. But he won't go down, and Spiess has to settle for 3 points. Third period with Dimitrov on the bottom. He gets to his feet, but Spiess brings him back down. Now Spiess gets the cradle again and rolls through to get another near fall and to win it 10-1. And Kevin Spiess avenges a tough loss here in the finals last year and becomes the champion at 152. Next up at 160 pounds from Portland, Travis Opperman will meet Corunna's Jeff Pangborn. First period, Opperman in red and white, Pangborn in the yellow and black. Pangborn gets in deep and gets a quick 2 points. Both of these wrestlers come into the finals with identical 53-2 records for the year, and they split the 2 matches they've had with each other. Now Opperman gets out, and it's 2-1. Late in the second period and on their feet after Pangborn's escape. Now he ducks under and gets the takedown to lead 5-1. Third period with Opperman down, and he gets right up and out to make it 5-2. But Pangborn comes back with a single leg. Opperman tries to roll through, but Pangborn drops on top for the takedown. Opperman gets an escape and a penalty point, but it's not enough. Jeff Pangborn wins it 7-4. We talked with Jeff after the match.
Oh, feels great. Worked real hard all year with my brother, working out, and that was the 3rd time I've seen Travis Opperman this year. And we were 1-1 before this, and I just watched the tape a whole bunch of times and trained really hard the last couple of weeks, and just came in here confident and had some fun.
Next, we'll look at the 171-pound final match with Mike Kripe of Edwardsburg and John Edding from Hamilton. We'll go to the top of the second, score 0-0 with Kripe choosing the down position. He gets to his feet, tries a standing switch, but Edding stays with him. Now he turns in and he's out for 1. Edding tries a throw-by, but Kripe recovers. Now Edding tries a trip, but Kripe catches him off balance and pancakes him for the takedown. It's 3-0 Kripe. Kripe works the arm and shoulder. Now Edding steps over. Almost gets caught for a near fall, but finally comes out for the escape. Edding reaches in, but Kripe flies around behind for the takedown and stays on top to make the score 5-1. Midway through the third now, with Kripe trying to turn Edding. He steps over and gets him on his back for a 3-point near fall. And Mike Kripe goes on to win it by a score of 10-2. At 189 pounds now, we've got Scott Ferguson of Gladwin and Rob Kerwin from Goodrich. Kerwin lost a close match in the 171-pound final last year. He wastes no time getting in for the first takedown. Ferguson gets to his feet, breaks Kerwin's grip, and he's out for the escape. Now Kerwin reaches across and takes Ferguson to the mat and onto his back for the takedown plus a 2-point near fall. Second period with Kerwin leading 6-2. He gets to his feet and out for the escape. Kerwin gets in again with that short fireman's carry and rolls through for another takedown. Now Kerwin works to turn Ferguson. He gets him over once again for a 3-point near fall. And that puts the match out of reach. Rob Kerwin rides Ferguson out in the third to win with a final score of 12-2. For our last match in Division III, we'll see Ray Tile from Fowlerville and Darren Vandenberg from Hamilton. First period, Tile in blue, Vandenberg in black. Tile tries a snap down, gets the head, then drops in on the legs for the first takedown. In the second period now, Vandenberg is down 4-1. He sits out and comes around for the escape. Now Tile snaps down and gets behind for another 2, and it's 6-1. Late in the second, and Vandenberg has escaped again. He tries a snap down, but Tile comes up underneath, picks him up, brings him down on his back for a takedown and near fall combination, and it's 10-3 Tile. Top of the third now with Tile choosing down. He gets to his feet. Vandenberg can't hold on, and Tile gets the reversal to go on to win 16-5. That's it for our Division III highlights. We've got more action coming up in Division IV. You're watching the MHSAA Championship Network. Welcome back. Our Division III titles are in the books. Up next, Division IV will begin with the heavyweights. Tom Benson from Niles Brandywine will meet Brad Sinclair from Olivet. Each has only one loss this year. Start of the match and the big guys tie up. Sinclair snaps Benson down, then pancakes him, and Benson's in trouble. Sinclair levers him over. Gets his weight on top, and there's the pin. Brad Sinclair wins by a fall in 24 seconds. We talked with Brad after the awards.
I thought it'd be a brawl, going to full match, but he went down. I just took advantage of it. I've worked a long time since I was a little kid. I wanted to be a state champ. It finally came true.
Next at 103 pounds, Corey McCaw from Breckenridge takes on John Lopez from Shelby. We've got another match with both wrestlers having only one loss against about 50 wins this season. McCaw in the yellow headgear took third here last year. Now he gets a leg. Lopez tries to roll back and elevate, but McCaw gets the takedown to go up 2-zip. Second period now with Lopez on top, keeping McCaw broken down. Now McCaw works to his feet. He gets the reversal, and it's 4-0. Lopez chooses the neutral position to start the third period. He needs a takedown and near fall to stay in this contest. He almost has it, but they're off the mat. Still on their feet. Lopez looking for something. Now McCaw jerks him down and goes behind for two more. And Corey McCaw wins it 6-0. to finally become the champ at 103. The 112-pound final is next with Nick Bull from Michigan Center and James Jones from Hudson. This is a rematch of last year's 103-pound final when Jones beat Bull 7-3. Now Jones gets in for the takedown, but gets too high, and Bull comes around behind for the reversal. Jones escapes, so it's 3-2 in the second now. Bull on top. Jones reaches up for the head, and he escapes again. And keeps on coming for the takedown, and it's 6-2 Jones. Bull escaped, and we're now in the third period. Jones is working for a fall now. He gets near fall points, but can't hold him. And Bull gets a reversal. But it's not enough, and James Jones wins it again, 11-5. At 119 pounds now, we've got Andy Spicer of Addison and returning champion Mark Roos from St. Charles. This is Roos's fourth appearance in the finals, having placed second as a freshman and winning it the last 2 years. Now Roos gets in on a leg for the takedown and catches Spicer on his back for 2 near-fall points. Start of the second now with Roos ahead 4-0. Roos controlling the wrists. Spicer tries to get up, but Roos comes in with a crossface. Now he goes for the far side cradle, brings him over, and it's all over. Mark Roos is the champion for the third year in a row. And there's no one happier about it than his coach and father, Pat Roos. We'll be back with more Division IV highlights in a moment. This program is sponsored by the United Dairy Industry of Michigan. We're back with more Division IV highlights, beginning with the 125-pound finals. From St. Louis, Aaron Jelinek meets Ricky Mania from Martin. First period action. Jelinek shoots, but Mania counters and comes around for 2. Jelinek gets up, but Mania holds on and keeps control as they go off the mat. Both wrestlers are repeat medalists, Jelinek taking third at 119 last year and Mania third at 125. Jelinek keeps getting to his feet, but Mania stays with him every time. Now Mania has Jelinek broken down and he's looking for a fall. He gets a cradle hold and a 3-point near fall as time runs out in the second. Mania chooses neutral in the third. Jelinek shoots, but Mania gets in on a leg for another takedown as they go out of bounds. And Ricky Mania wins it 7-0 to become the champ at 125. Next up, we'll see Jeremiah Tobias of Manchester and Preston Mertz from Rogers City at 130 pounds. We join the action in the first period with Tobias scoring a takedown. Mertz, a junior, is 52-6, and Tobias, a sophomore, took first last year and is undefeated at 48-0 this year. He rides Mertz out for the rest of the period. Start of the second. Tobias stands right up, breaks the hands loose, hits a switch, and comes around for the reversal. It's 4-0. Now Tobias begins to work for the pin. He gets a far side cradle, tries to roll through, then brings him back. But Mertz breaks away. Third period now, and both wrestlers have been warned for stalling. Tobias has one arm and tries to drive Mertz over. Now he gets two and comes back the other way. And gets the three-point near fall. And Jeremiah Tobias remains undefeated to win his second straight state championship. Now at 135 pounds, from Leslie, Nick Atwood will meet Jacob Davis of Dundee. Hang on to your seats, folks, as we watch one of the wildest first periods ever wrestled here. Atwood tries to trip, but Davis brings him around and down to the mat for two and a three-point near fall. Now Atwood throws him off and comes out for the escape. He gets the trip this time, and he's got Davis on his back for a 2+3. Now Davis bridges up, steps over, and throws in the legs for the reversal, and it's 7-6 Davis. Back in the middle, Davis lets Atwood up. He gets a leg. Now the head for a cradle, and he's got Atwood on his back again, and our first period score is Davis 12, Atwood 7. Second period, and Davis chooses a neutral start. He comes in with that high crotch again for another takedown. Now he drives to turn Atwood over again, and he's got him for another near fall. 30 seconds left in the second, and Davis sinks the half Nelson to drive Atwood over one more time. And that's it. Jacob Davis betters his second place finish in the finals last year and wins by a fall in 3:41. Up next, we've got Marco Garcia of Lawton versus Jason Trombley of Brown City. We'll pick up the match near the end of the first period. No score. Garcia gets in on a leg and gets the takedown. Now Trombley hits a switch and gets the escape. Second period with Trombley on top after a reversal. Garcia gets to his feet, breaks loose for one, and comes right in for the takedown. But Trombley turns in and he gets away for one. Third period now, and Garcia has escaped. He gets in on a single leg and gets behind for the takedown. Garcia lets Trombley up, but Trombley comes right back with a double leg for two as they go off the mat. Trailing 10-9, Trombley lets Garcia up, hoping to get a takedown and send it into overtime. But Garcia gets in and holds on to win it 11-9, and Marco Garcia is the champ at 140 pounds. We move on to the 145-pound final now with Nate Olmstead of Union City facing Alec Kowalewski from Galesburg, Augusta. First period action with Kowalewski wearing the red and yellow knee pads. He comes into the finals with a 50-1 record. Olmstead, who took third last year, is undefeated with 45 wins. Now he spins around and comes up with the first takedown. In the second now, and Kowalewski has escaped. Olmstead controls the head and comes around for two more. Late second period. Kowalewski gets to his feet and breaks out for one, and it's 4-2 Olmstead. Kowalewski lets Olmstead up to start the third period. Now Olmsted levers that head again and gets 2 plus a near fall. Now Kowalewski comes up, hits a switch, and gets the escape as they go off the mat. It's 7-3 Olmsted now. Kowalewski gets a single, but Olmsted again controls the head and gets another 2 points. And Nate Olmsted goes on to win it 11-4 and finishes the year undefeated. We'll be back with more action in a moment. The wrestling finals are brought to you by the United Dairy Industry of Michigan. Welcome back to University Arena in Kalamazoo. We'll begin our last group of highlights with the 152-pound final. Dan O'Brien from New Lothrop meets J.J. Goitezek from St. Charles. We'll pick up the action in the second period with Goitezek ahead 2-1. O'Brien on top. Now Goitezek hits a switch and steps over for 2. O'Brien comes back with a switch of his own and comes around for the reversal, and it's 4-3. Goitezek works to his feet. O'Brien tries to throw him back down, but Goitezek catches a leg and gets over for another reversal. Third period with O'Brien behind 7-3 after a penalty point. He hits another switch to get a reversal and close the gap to 2. But Goitezek comes back and almost gets a reversal as they go off the mat. He gets 1 for an escape. And J.J. Goitezek wins it 8-5 to become champ in his sophomore year. At 160 pounds now, we've got Tim Williams of Hudson up against returning champion Chad Wagner of Dundee. Start of the second period, no score yet. Wagner lets Williams up and comes right back with a takedown and a near fall, and it's 5-1 Wagner. Again, Wagner lets Williams up and comes right back in on a single leg for 2 more. Late in the second, and Wagner has that single leg again for another takedown. Third period with Williams on top. Wagner gets to his feet. Williams brings him down hard and is penalized for unnecessary roughness. Wagner lets Williams up again and now leads 13-4. And he gets in again for another 2 points. One more takedown puts the icing on the cake, and Chad Wagner wins it 17-6. We caught up with Chad after the match.
It feels great. It's gigantic relief. It's my sixth. It's actually my 6th state championship because of my team, and I thank my coaches giving me this opportunity to be here. I love my parents and love my grandparents.
Up next at 171 pounds, Chad Mobley from Quincy will try to take the title from defending champ Reggie Robinson of Blissfield. First period, Robinson shoots, Mobley gets behind, but Robinson flips him over his shoulder and gets the first takedown. Back in the middle, Mobley stands up and fights his way out for the escape. Robinson 2, Mobley 1. Start of the second. Mobley gets to his feet, but Robinson jerks him back down. He gets up again and this time gets the escape to tie it 2-2. Third period now, and Robinson comes right up and out for the escape. Now Mobley gets a leg, then comes out behind and gets control to go ahead 4-3. Robinson stands up, then hits a switch for a reversal, and he leads 5-4. A penalty against Robinson for locking hands sends the match into overtime. Robinson shoots, gets an ankle, and comes around to get control for the takedown. And Reggie Robinson wins it 7-5 in OT to retain the championship. Now at 189 pounds from Quincy, Rich Wilson will meet Joe Yeager from Fulton Middleton. We join the match at the top of the second period. No score yet. This is a battle of the undefeated. Yeager on top is 51-0. Wilson is 44-0. Now Wilson works his way out for the escape to go up 1-0. We're in the third now with Yeager on the bottom. He hits a switch, then comes around and gets a leg. And he gets the reversal for a 2-1 lead. Now Wilson gets to his feet and comes out to tie it up. Still on their feet, Yeager has been penalized for an illegal scissors. Yeager tries a standing switch, but Wilson gets control. Now Yeager gets up and escapes, and it's 5-3. Yeager tries a head throw, then reaches back for a leg, but Wilson takes him down for 2 more as time runs out. And Rich Wilson is the one to remain unbeaten, winning it 7-3. And now for our last match. It will be Pat Warren from New Lothrop and Dan Hartley from Hudson at 215 pounds. Start of the match with Warren wearing the protective face mask. He gets behind for the takedown. Now he goes for a cradle, but Hartley comes across for a reversal. Hartley tries to break Warren down. Warren hits a switch and comes around for 2 more. Third period now, and Hartley lets Warren up. They each had reversals in the second, so it's 6-4. Now Warren gets behind and trips for 2 more. It's near the end of the match now, and Hartley comes out for an escape, but it's not enough. And Pat Warren wins it 9-5 to become the champ at 215. We'll be back to wrap things up in a moment. You're watching the MHSAA Championship Network. We hope you enjoyed our coverage of the Division III and IV Wrestling Championships. Next year, we'll see you from our new site, the Joe Louis Arena in downtown Detroit. For our team from Blue Sky Productions, I'm Mark Crawford. So long, everybody.
It's the world's oldest sport, and in this country perhaps the most misunderstood. It's true, wrestling places incomparable demands on young athletes. While other sports talk about dedication and determination, in wrestling those attributes may not be enough. Strength, quickness, technique, wrestlers must develop all 3 through an unforgiving regimen of conditioning, both physically and mentally. Understand that in this sport, even failure has its rewards, because the road to greatness is often paved with defeats that galvanize the hearts of future champions. Yes, success on the mat doesn't come easy. Perhaps that's why the sport commands so much respect from within. Because victory in wrestling doesn't mean just conquering an opponent, rather pushing oneself beyond expectations. Why do young men train so hard to compete in a sport that's appreciated by so few? Unless you've had your hand raised in victory, you may never understand. We're in Menominee, where this afternoon we'll crown 14 new UP State Wrestling Champions. I'm Scott Fury, and along with Tim Wolf, it will be our pleasure again to bring you all the toe-to-toe action. Today's broadcast is brought to you by the Meade Publishing Paper Division, Nelson Chevy Olds, your no-problem dealer, Premier Engineering and Manufacturing of Marinette, the United Dairy Industry of Michigan, and by these fine Menominee area businesses. So let's get to the action. First of all, 103 pounds, we've got a pair of outstanding freshmen. The number 1 seed, Paul Sadler out of Munising, is 33-3 on the year. And the number 2 seed from Escanaba, Jason McCuskey, also 30 wins on the season against 7 losses. To get here, Sadler had a major decision over Eric Myron, the number 4 seed out of Gladstone, while McCuskey beat the 3 seed Luke Mott out of Norway. They've wrestled 3 times this year. Sadler's won twice. That's got to be a big advantage.
Well, that's really got to help Sadler going into this match. One time I think he pinned him earlier this year, so he's saying, hey, I've done it before, I can do it again here in the finals. But on the other hand, McCuskey, the numbers are in his favor. Maybe his number's up tonight and he's going to get the big win. But Sadler right away, in on a nice deep double right here, takes him down, gets his 2 points from referee Dave Gagne.
Pretty physical start for 3-pounders, let me tell you that. And look at the difference in size. We might want to point that out right away. Sadler, much taller than McCuskey, and leverage is a big factor in wrestling.
Yeah, sometimes, as a coach, you're going to want to take leverage over strength, but look at McCuskey. He's short and stocky. He has a lot of power in his own body right there.
Sadler putting the pressure on right now. Now he's on his belly, and here comes McCuskey.
Yeah, he could have got himself in bad position there. Got laying down the belly. McCuskey almost came in for the reversal.
He's got his arm trapped now underneath.
And he's got to be earning near fall right here, Scott.
And he's in deep trouble as Sadler steps over and fours the head.
Wow, he's got it hooked up there. I think it's going to be over right here in the first period, Scott. He has him in some big trouble.
Here comes McCuskey. Now he's going to get caught again. He readjusts, Sadler readjusts, and he's back on his back.
McCuskey really fighting hard to get off his back. Sadler's got his chest a little high, though. He needs to settle in, and he might finish it right here.
Boy, what an inauspicious start for Jason McCuskey there. Here we go. He fights off his back, but he's dug himself a hole. 5-0 in the first period.
He's not going to give up. He's going to fight back. He's very scrappy. He's going to finish this match strong.
Well, look at Sadler coming right back to work now. He's back in and working those arms.
See the pressure he has on there? Breaks him right back down to his base. A lot of pressure keeping him on his belly. And again, here he goes again. He's getting himself high, but he's working again for near fall.
Boy, he's not stopping. He's trying to turn him one more time here in the first period. We're getting down to short time, and he's still going.
I'll tell you what, right now, he's really trying to crank the half, get him over for near fall, and it looks like the period ends right
now. And that's it, and Sadler will have a big 5-0 lead. So as we start the second period, McCuskey's got to get on the comeback trail.
Boy, you see his face right there. He had the look in his eye, and right away he takes Sadler right down to his back. You see Dave Gagne got a 2 count in. He's got to pop his hips back in and pop Sadler back over his back. Earn some more points here.
If he can get him off his hips, he might get back in a near fall situation. But no, it looks like Sadler's going to pop, and does. Pops his head out. So luckily, he escapes there, and he's up 5-0. He almost got stuck, but now he's 7-4. Now he's back on the
right
attack.
Here. It didn't even bother him. He's right back out in front, going to try to get near fall again, but he's exposing himself to the mat. He's got to be careful there. McCuskey's not just going to lay down here.
Let's move now to the third period, and Sadler has taken a commanding 12-5 lead, and really he's looking to kind of put it away. He's not sitting back.
Whoa. See McCuskey right here. Sadler started hanging his head. He throws a headlock, tries to take him to his back. Sadler, with all the confidence in the world right now, rolls through, and now he has McCuskey on his back and could finish it off here.
Boy, that was Jason's maybe last break. Now he's on his back again. Pretty disappointing there. Now they're going to stop it. It's going to be a 4-point near fall. That's going to make it 16-5. And it ends 16-7. Paul Sadler, the UP champ. We've got an interesting story at 112 pounds. Senior versus the freshman. The senior, the number 1 seed out of Munising, Jared Bowerman, 32-3 on the year. He'll take on Jason Gauthier, the mighty freshman from Ishpeming. 27 wins, just 3 defeats. To get here, Bowerman took an 8-2 decision off the number 4 seed Ryan Rosinski out of Escanaba, while Gauthier pins his way into the finals over Brian Utke of Menominee. So we've got experience versus youth. Who wins that battle?
I would say most of the time you're going to go with the experienced guy. But when you have a freshman in the finals, he has nothing to lose here. He can let everything hang out and go for it. Where you might think Bowerman might be just a little bit more tentative and not go after it every time.
Well, we've had some good-looking freshmen. We're only 2 matches in, and we've already had 3 freshmen.
Yeah, it's really unbelievable in the finals so far. A lot of times you'll get freshmen wrestling in your lighter weights, but we've got 3 guys that have really done a fantastic job. And take a look at Gauthier right here. Boy, he's put together real well.
Well, that speaks volumes for where UP Wrestling is heading when we have some good-looking freshmen like that. And now Bowerman goes on the attack.
Yeah, he goes on the attack. He had a nice cross-arm lead, but he sat himself on the hip, and he's going to have to be careful in that situation. He doesn't want to get caught stuck underneath. And here he goes again, but he just powers it through and comes out with a type of a Kelly and gets the takedown, throws the leg in right away on Gauthier. And right here, he takes him over to his back, and he's going to get maybe a 2 count. The referee says no, but he's still working to get some near fall here.
Well, Bowerman definitely in control now with that cross body ride. He's going to come on the other side and try the old banana split, but Gauthier comes up and catches a leg.
Yeah, he's got his arm on the inside. He might get a reversal, but the period runs out.
We'll move now to the second period, and Bowerman chooses the down position.
Gauthier tries to come over the top there and catch some near fall points, got himself way out of position, gave up an easy reversal for Bowerman. He's scooted right in behind.
Well, Bowerman is the captain of his team, and he's got a lot of respect, not only from his coach and teammates, but also from the community.
Wonderful young man, means the world to our program. When I can get someone like that, it's a coach's dream to have someone like that in your program.
Obviously, Coach Mutter is really going to be sorry to see his captain go, Jared Bowerman, who's really cranking now on Jason Gauthier.
Yeah, he has some really good hip control. He keeps his hips high on the guy. He's got the leg forward there. He's got it in. Really working to get that arm in behind the back and maybe try to get a guillotine, but there's really nothing happening here. Maybe he should have a stalemate.
Well, we'll move on now to the third period, and Bowerman now with a 4-0 lead, and here comes Jason
what a
Gauthier.
Nice shot by Gauthier. He's not going to give up. Really got in deep, used his strength, and took him right down for the 2 points.
Well, you like to see he's not backing down. It's into the third period, but he's got the takedown. And we'll move now later into the third period, 6-2 the lead. They're in the neutral position, and let's see what Gauthier, if he can close the gap. He's going to step in behind for 2.
He almost scoots right in behind there. He's got to come up with something big here in the end of the match. And again, Bowerman down on his knees, almost gets caught and thrown to his back, but Gauthier's out in front, fighting to get in behind. He needs to step over and get his arm out from in front, and he'll get his 2-point takedown.
There it is. But boy, Bowerman almost caught on his hip again, but it's 6-4 now, and there's just not enough time for the freshman to pull it out. There's the horn coming up, and you see the UP championship finally for Jared Bowerman, a 6-4 win over Jason Gauthier. Moving now to 119, we've got a couple of crosstown rivals. Number 1 seed Rick Wright out of Norway, 35-3 on the year. He's going to take his neighbor, Iron Mountain senior BJ Moore, 33-10. These guys have wrestled quite often throughout the year. To get here, Wright beats the number 4 seed John Larson in a close match, 2-1, while Moore upset the number 2 seed Brad Elliott in just 18 seconds of the first period. So we've got a couple of seniors matched up here as we pick up the action early in the first period.
Yeah, both of these guys know how important it is to fight through this match and come out for the win. And right here, right away, Moore almost gets the same move that he pinned Elliott with in
that's
the
the same move.
18 seconds, he
but
took
look at
him
this.
out.
Now Wright comes out of it, and he's going to get the 2 points, so he'll step out in front.
He really got deep in on that high crotch, picked him up in the air and took him down to the mat and made sure he got his 2 points.
Let's move now to later in the first period. Rick Wright still on top in the score as well, 2-0. And let's see if he can maintain this lead. Now here comes Moore. He's going to sit through here.
Yeah, he's trying to go through with a type of switch, and you see Wright trying to do a re-switch, but he really doesn't have himself in very good position. Moore's going to try and step over and take him to his back, maybe for near fall here, Scott.
Boy, he is not panicking at all. A lot of guys would have bailed out here a long time ago.
Well, you can bet his coach might be saying the same thing. Maybe you should give it up, go to your base, and work from there, and maybe only give up 2. But boy, Wright shows a lot of patience, a lot of confidence in himself, and he comes back out on top.
Catches that arm and puts Moore back on his stomach. And as we get close to the end of the first period here, I tell you what, he was close to giving up not only reversal but near fall there, and he'll maintain
a lot of good pressure right there.
Maintains the hip pressure, and he'll ride out the period and go into the second period with a 2-0 lead. Let's move now to the third period. It's still a 2-0 score. Nothing happening in the second period. Just a lot of this kind of action. Moore trying to get out, but Wright controlling things with really his legging ability.
Yeah, he's really sitting tight on the hip, trying to hang on to him. You see Moore right away doing a shoulder roll, going into a switch, but he's laying on his side too much, and that allows Wright to get that leg in. And we see right here he's going to try to work some type of a tilt. Pull him over with the legs, got a bar arm, and he's going to work for some near fall, but he really has his hips laying on the mat.
Once again, Wright kind of wrestling off his back. Now he's going to put that heel in and try to open up those hips.
He's close right here, and Moore turns into him. I don't know. I think he got a 2-point near fall there.
Definitely, and he almost gets turned again, but now he doesn't panic again, comes out. He's extended his lead 4-0, and we're right at the end of the period, the end of the match, and it's going to look, unless something happens here, it looks like, and it is, Rick Wright, the UP champion at 119 pounds, a 4-0 win over B.J. Moore. Welcome back to Menominee. We're going to pick up the action at 125 pounds. We have another senior versus freshman, but this time the freshman's the number 1 seed. Dan Maloney out of Escanaba, 30-6 on the year. He'll take on the senior Jason Lefebvre, 28-5, coming in from Gladstone. To get here, Maloney had a 6-3 decision over Jason Waligurski of West Iron County, while Lefebvre beat Todd Dubor, the number 6 seed out of Negaunee, 2-1. Last time experience prevailed over youth. Let's see what happens this time.
Well, I'll tell you what, Lefebvre, he's been in the UP tournament 3 years previous to this. He won it as a freshman, and boy, you would think his experience would come through and carry him through this match. But
he's got 114 career wins too, so it's really kind of an interesting story, and he gets in deep on a shot.
In nice and deep right away, but Maloney, with his upper body strength, fought himself out of there. And look here, he's going to go. He finished a nice double, turns the corner. Russ Perkaloski awards him 2 points for the takedown.
Let's pick the action up now in the third period. Been a lot of sparring going on. No score, but here Maloney comes out right away off the bat in the third period. He moves his lead up to 3-0.
Yeah, he jumps right up to his feet, good hand position, fights out of it. And here you see him scrambling in, and Lefebvre makes a shot. He catches him with his arm in the air and puts him right on his back, Scott. I don't know how Lefebvre got caught in that.
I thought Lefebvre was going to have a takedown there, but he gets caught with his arm up, and Dan Maloney's making him pay. It's a 5-point move, and that's going to increase the lead to, at this point, 8-0. There's the 3 from Russ Perkalosi.
And you see Lefebvre here, he gets an escape, makes it 8-1. Boy, that's really got to be disheartening in that situation for Lefebvre. He's going in and the score gets thrown to his back, and now he's got to really dug himself a deep hole and has to fight back and try and probably get a throw here.
Well, we'll move late now into the third period. Maloney great on his feet. You saw him let Lefebvre go a little earlier. They're still on their feet. He likes to wrestle in the neutral position. Now here he comes in deep.
You see Lefebvre here, he's got a double underhook. You know he's trying to do some type of throw, try to get something together, get Maloney on his back. That's the only hope he has tonight. And Maloney drops down,
squat
nice
and lift.
Deep double, takes him down to the mat, and boy, it's all over right now.
And Jason Lefebvre unfortunately knows it. There it is, a 10-1 decision right now, and we're late in the period, and it's probably going to end that way. No hope left for Jason Lefebvre. A great career ends, but the new guard has maybe taken over. 125, Dan Maloney, the champ. Moving now to 130 pounds, we have another Escanaba wrestler, senior Tim Keneally, coming in 36-4 on the year. He'll take on another senior out of Westwood High School in Ishpeming, Dustin Abraham, who comes in with a 33-6 record. To get here, Keneally beats Scott Skug out of Norway, a close match at 7-4, while Abraham had no trouble with third seed Matt Layton out of Iron Mountain. 10-1 the final there. You look at these two guys, it's like almost looking in a mirror. Same builds, almost identical.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a great match here in the finals, Scott. Both these guys, seniors, really want to go out and get after it, and they're both pretty good on their feet too.
As we pick the action up late in the first period, you see right at the edge of the match, there it is, Tim Keneally with the points and the takedown. Keneally, an unusual story, didn't start wrestling until his freshman year, missed his whole sophomore year with an injury, but he stuck around, and here he is in the finals.
He's got the package. He's a good athlete. He's tenacious. He's a real tough kid. He's an honor roll student. He leads by example, and he also leads with his, he just has a genuine heart, and he's a solidifier on our wrestling team.
Keneally, kind of a silent type. He lets his wrestling do his talking, and right now he's in control, 2-0 over Dustin Abraham.
See Abraham here, Keneally's really trying to keep good pressure on top. Abraham come underneath. If he drives his arm through, he's going to escape there. Looks like he's working some type of Granby roll here, but he gets caught on his hip, and Keneally sags his hips back and then stops the move on him.
Tim Keneally still in control, 2-0 here, and we're getting close to the end of the period. He might get some points here on the cradle.
If Abraham throws his arm over, he gets an escape there, but Keneally with a lot of pressure on his upper body, forcing his hips or his chest down into his hips, and nothing there.
We'll move down to the third period. It's a 2-1 score. Abraham has been awarded a penalty point because of stalling on Tim Keneally from the top position, might I add. But now Tim Keneally trying to increase his lead. He's in the bottom position. Easy to score down there. Let's see what Abraham can put together.
Boy, he really has to try to break Keneally down. Here it looks like he's going to drop in. Looks like he's dropping in to try to get a near side or a spear cradle. He needs to get his head in the side and get much more pressure there. Keneally able to stand up and get himself free.
Had nothing, no weight on top, and now he's going to try a throw, and he's going to get in trouble.
Wow, he comes up with a desperation throw at the point when he doesn't need it in the match. He's only down by 2, goes straight to his back, and really puts Keneally in the driver's seat right there. Boy, what a difference. All of a sudden, it's 8-1.
So the 5-point move, really the difference. Tim Keneally wins it, 8-2 the final score. At 135 pounds, we have the first weight class where the number 1 seed didn't make it through. That's because of this guy, Shannon Matheson out of Marquette. He'll enter the championship match 24-5. Taking on Josh Mayett out of Escanaba, a junior who's 27-10 on the year. To get here, Matheson had the big upset. The number 4 seed picks up Suda of Newberry in a 5-3 decision, while Mayett was pinning the 6th seed Jared Hoy out of Gwynn at 132. So we'll pick up the action at the start of the second period. It was a scoreless first period. It's really been a couple of guys who really know each other.
Yeah, it was built up to be a big match. Both these guys, they've met each other twice now. Matheson won 1, Mayott won 1, and they're really getting after it again here tonight.
So Matheson steps up and gets away and looks, I thought we were going to have a headlock there from the Escanaba wrestler, but Matheson steps in behind, scores 2.
Yeah, he pops to his feet and gets good hand control, comes out right away. And right here, he throws a half on it. He's going to work for the fall right away.
He's out of bounds, though, so
he's
no
not out of
fall.
bounds. He's going to drag Mayott back in, and he's still got the hand through the cross.
Now he's got near fall points.
Forces him to his back. Boy, he's got Mayott in some trouble right now, but he really needs to settle in here, get his chest on top, and work for that pin.
You see Mayott going back for the out-of-bounds area. Very smart on his part, but let's see what Matheson can do. He's going to drag him back in, it looks like. Again, now he's switched his move. He's now into a front headlock position.
Yeah, he let go of the arm, and you can see him trying to drag Mayott back into the mat. He's got a lot of pressure on the head here. Boy, if he settles in, he really has Mayott in some deep trouble.
And let's see if he can complete. And there's a fall. So Shannon Matheson, the number 4 seed, completes it, and he has won the UP championship at 257. That is a huge upset. The number 4 seed winning here at 135. You see him giving congratulations to the Escanaba coaches, and there he goes over to his own coaches. A happy Shannon Matheson, and well he should be, because this is a big fall. Tell us what's going on here.
Well, he knows right where he's at in the match right here. He knows that Mayott's out of bounds, and if he wants to pin him here, he's got to drag him back in. Very patiently, pulls him back in. There's a lot of time left in the period. Boy, he's got a lot of pressure on the head. He's using his head as a post back and forth, and here he readjusts his chest right into Mayott's chest, settling in, and he's going to go for the fall. Lifts the head up, and there it is from Dave Gagne. gets the pin here and wins the championship.
Welcome back to Menominee. It's time for the 140-pound weight class. This will feature a defending UP champion, Nathan Todd, just a junior Onic win, 38-5 on the year. He takes on Brandon Rudder, a senior from Kingsford, who is 23-9. Kind of an unusual situation in this weight class. To get to the finals, Todd had to beat his own teammate, John Grant, 19-5 the score there, while Rudder, the number 3 seed, picked off the number 2 seed Bob Bruchart out of Menominee. Todd will be in the black and gold singlet to the right of your screen, and here's a guy who really likes to wrestle on his feet.
Yeah, he's really been doing a great job all year. You can expect to see a lot of action here in the finals with him.
Right away.
Really quick, looking right away in between the legs, come out the back door, looking for a takedown. He's got to move up, and there he's got his 2 right away, Scott.
So Nathan Todd goes out in the lead 2-0, and just like that, Brandon Rudder gets away. I don't know if that was an escape or more of Todd just kind of being careful and letting him go.
Well, sometimes you feel a guy getting away when you have that much confidence on your feet. Instead of fight it, let him go, start all over.
Another shot on Nathan Todd's part. He likes to stand flat-footed a lot and wants the wrestler to come to him.
Well, you know, he's also good on his feet at shooting, but he likes to let a guy get in on his legs. He has no problem with that. He has real good hip control, real good body control, and he'll take a guy down when he's in on his own legs. So he's got a lot of confidence on his feet, and he's going to get it going here from now on, I think.
Now on the ear-to-ear. Rudder doesn't like that situation, so he pops back, tries a shot.
He's in kind of deep here on the leg. All he has to do is a little circle dump. But Todd, he just bumps his hips into him just like I was talking about. Bumps his hips in, goes around behind, and gets another takedown on him.
So that makes the score 4-1 now. Nathan Todd out front.
Getting himself a little bit high right here. He's got to be careful. Maybe a Granby or Jim Tilson calls it potentially dangerous.
Let's move now later into the first period. Todd has upped his lead to 6-1. He had a near fall. And there goes Rudder again.
Rudder right up on his feet. I don't know. He is pretty quick. Had good hand fighting in there and got himself away right away. He gets a takedown here, Scott. He's right back in the match.
But Todd with a cross-arm lead, and he takes him right to his back. And I think, yes, Rudder hurt his back, and that's going to be the end of the period. It's 8-2. We'll move now to the second period. Nathan Todd has upped his lead to 10-4. Rudder really has been favoring his back that he hurt at the end of the first period there, and it's really kind of affected him. But here comes Nathan Todd again.
Well, I'll tell you, when you have a bad back and you have a guy in on your legs shooting a takedown, it's real hard to sprawl and it's hard to get out of there, and that's probably affecting him right now. You saw him kind of bail out there when Todd was in deep, and hopefully he can finish the match and wrestle well and have a good showing here.
Well, once again, an escape for Rudder. And here comes Nathan Todd. He's relentless.
Look how he's just digging his hips underneath there. Got his hips right underneath, picks him up, steps in behind. He's got him right down to his back here.
And there's the period. Let's move now to late in the third period. It's been all Nathan Todd. He currently has 8 takedowns in the match. He just gave up another escape, 8 escapes, so he's been taking him down, letting him go all match long. And you know what? Wrestling still, the bottom line is you're supposed to try to pin the guy.
Yeah, but you can see Todd. He's not showboating. He's letting the guy, letting him up, taking him down. Not being a real fancy guy, but he's working in, still trying to get takedowns here. Maybe he's going for the technical fall. Maybe he can't pin him. But right here, you see Rudder in on a nice fireman's carry late in the period. He pops his head out here. He might be able to get some near fall.
Wow.
Maybe get the pin out of him. I don't know.
Takes Nathan. Todd was back at the end of the match, and I don't think there's going to be time. No, there's not enough time for the pin. But I guess a good finish for Brandon Rudder. He's got to feel good about himself. He gets 4 of his own points to make the final, 20-12. Nathan Todd, UP champion again. Now at 145, we have another returning UP champion, David Felger, just a sophomore out of West Iron County. He's 34-1. His only loss to Travis Athey, a Bayport wrestler. He'll take on Jesse Pasco, the senior from Westwood, who comes in with a 31-7 record. Getting to the finals looked like this. Felger took out Municine's Josh Seitz, 11-3 that score, while Pasco was blanking the 3rd seed Joe Royer out of Escanaba. We'll pick up the action early in the first period. Felger in the blue singlet, Pasco in red.
You know, again, Scott, we have a wrestler here in Felger who likes to really move around on his feet and has some pretty good quickness.
Nice ankle pick there.
You see it right from the start here. I was going to say Pasco. He's also real lengthy, has a lot of leverage, and he really likes to use the legs when he rides on top. So let's look for that later on in the match.
You know, Felger, that is coached by his father, who you just saw there, Doug Felger, and that makes for an interesting
David
relationship.
is a very unassuming young man, and he's very self-motivated. So it's very easy to coach David. Our relationship, father-son relationship, has not gotten in the way of anything at all.
Well, we're back to the action here. You see David Felger has increased his lead to 4-2, and he's going for more.
He's working a duck under there, didn't get penetration. He comes right back, does a little chain wrestling, hits a fireman's carry, and gets another takedown, moves up 6-2 in the match.
Boy, you really can tell great wrestlers are so good on their feet. Now here goes Felger out to a fast start. He's up 6-2, and he could put this thing away early.
Well, you can see he's trying to break down Pasco. He has a double inside wrist on him, but he's not knocking his hips down to the mat. He's got to break him down flat, get good hip pressure, and try and wear him out. But he's not doing that right now. He's kind of into an over-under or a Navy ride right here, and the period's going to end.
Let's move ahead in the match now to the second period. 7-2. Felger started down this period, has escaped. They're back on their feet where he likes to be.
You can see right there, he's kind of down with the one hand on the mat, moving around, trying to work his quickness. And right here, he gets
Pasco stepped over.
Pasco steps over, and he's earning a near fall right here. This is going to put him right back in the match, Scott.
Just like that, the gap has closed. It was 7-2. That's a 4-point move, makes it 7-6, and Felger looks a little bit stunned.
I'll tell you what, it doesn't take very long to get yourself back in the match, and now Pasco has the legs in. He's working on the arm right now.
Well, you talked about this guy likes to ride the legs. He might get near falling. Nope, he's not going to be able to turn him there.
He really keeps his hips high, and he never gets nervous when he has those legs in.
Boy, he's cranking there, isn't he? Trying to get him over with the leg.
He's doing what he can to get him turned to his back. Trying to come across body right here, really working hard.
Let's move now late in the third period. It's a great match. Felger holding on to a 9-8 lead. This has really been a surprise.
Yeah, you can really feel the tension building right here. And there's Pasco trying to scoot in behind. Needs to get him down to the mat to get his 2-point takedown. He has nothing yet, Scott. And there it is. He gets his 2 points. All he needs to do is hang on for the championship.
Jesse Pasco takes the first lead of the match late in the period. 10-9 is the lead. Pasco able to ride him out and take the UP championship at 145, 10-9. For the third weight class in a row, we have another defending UP champion. This time it's Bo Baumgartner, unbeaten on the year, 36-0. One of two unbeaten wrestlers in the tournament. He'll take on Pete McGuigan out of Escanaba, a senior who's 28-3. Let's take a look at how they got into the finals. Baumgartner, of course, the top seed, beats Brent Hill, the number 5 seed, 9-1, while McGuigan pins Bruce Cram out of Gwynn at 241. A little revenge going in this match as we pick it up in the second period with no score, because Baumgartner beat John McGuigan last year to win the UP title, and that's, of course, Pete's older brother.
Yeah, you're going to think that Pete wants to get back, try and make some revenge for his brother. Right here, Baumgartner gets a little high. McGuigan tries to come in for reversal. Baumgartner outquicks him and works back in behind.
Another motivational factor for Pete McGuigan. He's got 99 matches on the year, one short of 100, and he's going to go all out to get it today.
That sure would be a great way to end up his UP wrestling career. But he's going to have to get something in gear right here. Baumgartner's riding with a real tight waist, keeping a lot of pressure on him. McGuigan's got to put a couple moves together.
Throughout this tournament,
he's overextended himself here. He almost got back points against him. He's really got to watch his hips. He's getting overextended a little bit, but he might pop out here for some points.
So I was going to say, throughout this tournament, Bo Baumgartner, one of the more physical wrestlers in the tournament.
Yeah, he likes to put a lot of pressure on, and like you said, be real physical, throw a guy around, and let him know who's in charge of the match.
Well, we'll go now to the start of the third period. Baumgartner chose the neutral position. Let's see if he can make it pay. He's got a three-quarter Nelson on in front, and he steps in behind for the first points of the match.
You know, Peter started out with a nice shot, but he got his head down on the mat. Baumgartner kind of quarter Nelsoned him, just hustled him behind and got the takedown. But it could be a 2-0 match right here, Scott. The way these guys are wrestling, they're real close. Nobody's willing to make the big mistake.
Well, they wrestled 4 minutes and 10 seconds of scoreless wrestling before the first takedown of the match. Now Baumgartner looks like he's trying to work a tilt here a little bit.
Yeah, Pete's trying to work a trying to work some type of switch, but he definitely has to clear his arm. There's no way Bumgarner is going to let loose on that. You see he's got to work in behind the back. He's not really keeping great pressure on him. He needs to get off his knees and really work the pressure on McGuigan.
Well, McGuigan might have a little different story because he's been down a lot, and of course he's got that bad arm, and that's not helping any.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to let that bother him, Scott. He's a pretty tough wrestler, pretty strong physical kid himself. But he's got to get something going, really has to put something together because he has the capabilities of coming back and winning.
Well, Bumgarner looks like he's starting to tire just a little bit, but he's still got that great hip pressure and the downward force against McGuigan. Let's see, he tries to get a turn going here.
Yeah, he got a little careless there. He doesn't want to go out and do a move like that and give up cheap points, but McGuigan sits out, looks at the clock, knows he's almost
gets to his feet.
And here he gets a 1 point, so that's a good job by him.
Well, how many times does it come down to a takedown, winning a match, and right on the attack goes Pete McGuigan, but he's going to be short, and in comes Bumgarner for a 4-1 lead now, and that's going to be tough for Pete McGuigan. Again, an aggressive...
He looks like he's hooking up a Granby here, though, Scott. Bumgarner was getting a little bit high. McGuigan had the wrist, reaching into the crotch, was working for a Granby, but doesn't get it.
Well, time is just about out on Pete McGuigan's career here. It's 4-1. Bo Bumgarner defends his UP title. There it is for the second straight year. And this year he finishes unbeaten at 37-0. Welcome back to Menominee. We're starting to work our way up to the big guys. We'll be at 160 here. Our first contestant from Negaunee, senior Phil Vanny, who's 35-10 on the year. He'll be taking on his old nemesis, Matt Baker, a junior from Gwinn. Matt has 36 wins and just 3 defeats on the season. To get here, Vanny, the number 4 seed, picked off top-seeded Gary Anderson of Iron Mountain, 12-7 that score, while Baker was beating Dale Morrison, the 6th seed from Munising, with a fall at 248. Baker on the right of your screen, the black singlet and black tights.
I'd be real surprised to see a lot of action right here in the beginning of the match, Scott. These guys have wrestled each other a couple times. I would think they're going to be out there, feel each other out a little bit. As soon as I say that, Vanny takes a shot. Baker hustles in behind him. There's no takedown yet.
Now
lifts him up, squats and lifts him up, takes him down the mat, and now he has his 2 points.
Well, these guys have met, like you said, quite a few times this year, and they're familiar with each other's style. Both very, very strong, and when you got two like Rams locking horns, I tell you, that's what we're going to have in this match, is the two guys that struggle for position. Let's move ahead now to the second period. Matt Baker chose down. He got an escape, and that brings us to our current 3-0 score.
You know, you talked about gladiators a little bit earlier, Scott. It kind of interests me. Vanny was a 103-pounder when he was a freshman. Now he's at 160, and he was really built well and really come a long way since he started at Negaunee.
Well, now he's got his work cut out for him as Matt Baker gets another takedown to go up 5-0, but out comes Phil in front. He's got something working here.
Yeah, he's looking like he's trying to maybe work a front headlock here. Baker's hanging on to his arm. Vanny has to do something to get his arm out of there. He can't just sit there and pull and tug. Right here, he tries to roll through and maybe catch Baker on his back. He's got his head caught underneath. Baker's still just hanging on. Vanny's got to get off his knees and try to work away from him.
Baker has the control still, according to referee George Pond, and he'll step back in
and just comes right back in behind there. Vanny again, though, is trying to do a sit-out. Looks like he's looking in the corner, asking his coach for a little bit of help. Baker scoots right back in behind. Vanny's got to put maybe one or two moves together.
Let's move now to the start of the third period. Vanny's got to scramble. He's down 5-0, as you see.
Baker working for a quick tilt here. Chops him on the whistle. Looks like possibly George Pond got a 2 count. And yes, he does. It's now 7-0, and he's trying to tilt him up again.
Well, that's really going to put Phil Vanny in a panic mode, and looks like it's kind of put a little fire in Matt Baker as he was going for a half there to try to get another turn, but Phil Vanny defends that.
Yeah, it looks like he almost senses a kill. Turned him over once, thinks he can do it twice, but now Vanny right back in the offense, trying to score some moves, sit out, side roll. He's trying to pull all of his tricks out of his bag and score some points in the end here.
Boy, Matt Baker just smothering Phil Vanny right now. He really can't get anything going. 7-0 is the score in the third period. And Matt Baker goes on to win 7-1 the final. Moving on now to 171 pounds, we have the returning UP champion at this weight class and the winningest wrestler in the tournament with 39 wins, Brian Baker, a senior from Marquette. He'll take on Don Rickley, also a senior from St. Ignace, who's 35-5 on the year. To get here, Baker, the top seed, of course, beat Joe Delaski and no problem pinned him at 4:14, while Rickley went into overtime with second seed Alan Stasilaskis of Escanaba. So it's Rickley and Baker. We'll pick up the action early in the first period. Baker on top 2-0 with the first takedown of the match.
Yeah, you can see Baker right away. He's got Rickley broken down to his belly. Here he's working the arm in behind the back, goes to a half, turns him to his back, but Rickley pops right through. He might catch Baker here in the reverse and near fall. But Baker squirms out of it somehow, comes back in on top, and there's no point scored in that situation.
Boy, you've seen Baker a couple times on our Marquette Challenge telecasts, and you know, he looks like he's in trouble, but he just keeps working and never seems to get caught. And here he is back on top, still 2-0. Now he's working the tilt.
He's working the tilt here. Looks like he's going to try and get some near fall. He's got him in a pretty bad situation. You can see referee Gagnon there counting. It's hard to see his back right here. But all day long, I mean, not all day long, but a couple times I've seen Rickley in trouble. But he fights out every time. Just when you think you're going to catch him, boom, he pops out, and here he does it again and comes back to his base.
Well, he'll give up 3 there, so put Baker up 5-0. Let's move now to the second period. Brian Baker chooses the down position, and let's see what Rickley can do if he can get a turn here on Baker.
You know, Rickley was in the finals last year against the Marquette wrestler, Andy Manthe. He came up a little bit short last year, but it looks like he's really working hard this year. He wants it. He wants to be a champion and not get beat by Marquette again.
Well, here comes Baker out the back door again, and that's going to improve his lead to 7-0.
Again, rotates the wrist in behind the back, goes to a half. He's kind of hip to hip here. I think he's going to have to get out to the side. But he throws the legs in here in a grapevine. He's got him in some big trouble right here, Scott.
Boy, I tell you get turns every as often as this, and you got to start wondering here. But he squirms out again. But now Baker's up 10-0, and boy, this match is quickly getting out of hand. Well, we'll move now to later in the second period. It's 10-0. Baker on top. Let's see where we go from here.
You know, Rickley's a real strong kid too. He's got a nice physique on him. He needs to get to his feet and get something going. Probably try to do a throw and get maybe 5 points and get himself right back in the match.
He's reaching for that
Yeah,
headlock.
you see right here going for the headlock. Baker again with a half. Got himself on his hip.
Oh, man.
I don't know how he worked out of this one. Boy, he looks like he was going to be in trouble. All of a sudden now he has Rickley on his back. He's going for the 3-point near fall, possibly for the pin right here.
Just when it looked like Rickley was going to throw the headlock, Baker comes up with another move that puts Rickley on his back, and this is going to be at least 13-0 unless he gets the fall. But you see Rickley up on those elbows, really elbows and neck, preventing the shoulders from touching the mat, and Baker, let's see if he can set him flat.
Yeah, I don't know. He didn't have his hips up on top there.
Baker goes on for the 15-0 technical fall to win his second straight UP title. Now at 189 pounds, we have the hometown boy, Nash Myers, out of Menominee. He's a junior and 32 wins, 4 losses on the year. He'll take on Jason Zadunik of Marquette, also a junior. He's 22-9. To get to the finals, Myers, the number 1 seed, beat Kelly Castor, who was seeded 4th, 15-6. That score. Zadunik knocked off the number 2 seed, Eric Nollet of Newberry, with a fall at 5-12. Both these guys put together well. Maybe the best 2 physiques in the tournament, Tim.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of pushing and shoving and throwing around during this match. These guys are really, like you said, both put together well. They've wrestled once already this year in the conference. And it's going to be a real interesting match here.
Well, we've said it before, but you see, you picture Rams locking horns, and that's what these guys. Well, here comes Nash Myers now. He doesn't lock up that time.
I'll tell you what, Myers was very, very quick in there on the cross-arm lead. Took Zadunik down, let him go right away. I think he thinks he has a lot of confidence.
Boy, here
right
he comes
back
again.
in on the leg. Kind of appears that Zadunik was a little more ready this time. He's still got to sprawl, get his hips back, or he's going to get taken down again.
Man, right off the bat, Nash Myers showing some excellent quickness. He is a little shorter than Zadunik and is having so far an easy time getting underneath.
Yeah, Zadunic's going to have to move his feet. He's kind of standing flat-footed here. Both these guys got to move around a little bit. Otherwise, they're going to get caught on a quick shot from each other there.
Well, they're doing a little hand fighting right now, head-butting and hand fighting.
Not much action. They're both trying to feel each other out again. Nobody wants to make a mistake here. They know that their opponent's very strong, and if they get in deep, it's going to be a takedown.
Well, Myers has the 2-1 lead. You saw the takedown, and he immediately come free, and here comes Zadunik on the attack.
Same exact thing. Boy, you talk about a couple guys that are really quick.
And he lets
Take
him go,
down,
too.
Let him go, 3-3, just like that.
Let's move now. Late in the third period, it's been a lot of the same. Button heads, a lot of hand control, fighting for hand control. It's 6-6. Each wrestler's been penalized twice for stalling, so that's been the kind of match.
Yeah, it's getting late in the match right here. You can see right there, Myers looking up at the clock. Nobody wants to make the mistake at the end of the match. I think maybe they're just going to try and hang on, go into overtime, first point will win it.
Well, you hear the crowd chant for Zadunik in the hometown gym. That's got to surprise Nash Myers a little bit.
Trying to work an underhook, drive into him, maybe get a stalling call, I don't know. One of these guys got to make something happen here at the end of the match.
15 seconds left. It looks like it's headed for overtime.
You can see again right here, they're both tied up.
Here
Fight
comes
wrist
Zadunik,
control.
and it's no takedown. There's the takedown right at the end of the match for Nash Myers, the hometown kid. And Zadunik tries to get out of bounds. Myers looking at the clock, and he's got the lead 8-6, and there's just a second left. And how disappointed is Jason Zadunik? He made the aggressive mistake, but he couldn't finish the takedown.
Yeah, he was the one that went for it right at the end, but it cost him. And Nash Myers with the championship.
Well, that'll make it an 8-6 final. Nash Myers, the UP champion at 189. And we'll be back from the nominee after these words from our sponsor. Welcome back to Menominee. We've got 2 matches left. First of all, at 215 pounds, the top seed, Tracy Hafferkorn out of Norway. He's a senior, 34-2 on the year. He'll take on Marquette's Dan Ross, also a senior. He's got one more win, 35-3. He is also a senior. To get here, Hafferkorn beat last year's 215-pound UP champion Jason King of Escanaba 7-4, while Ross beat the 3-seed Kurt Sadek out of Munising 11-4. So here we go at 215. Once again, the top 2 seeds. Hafferkorn 1, Ross number 2. We've seen the top 2 seeds meeting in quite a few brackets today.
Yeah, we have seen that a few times today, Scott, and I know a lot of people are looking forward to seeing this match. They haven't wrestled each other this year. And as a matter of fact, it's been a couple of years, but Ross is looking forward to getting a little revenge on Hafferkorn, and you see right here, Hafferkorn on the collar and the neck, drops down to a single, tries to pick it up, and we have a stoppage here, Scott.
Let's see what's going on here. It's a technical violation apparently against Hafferkorn. Interesting that the alternate official, Russ Percolosi, makes this call. I think it's a headgear. Grabbing the headgear on Hafferkorn.
It's a technical violation. And that's exactly why they have 2 officials on the mat, Scott. If one guy's not in the right position to see it, they have the other man out there so somebody doesn't get put in a disadvantage.
So Ross goes out front 1-0. Interesting to note, last year in the 215-pound final, Hafferkorn lost by 1 point, and he was penalized for fleeing the mat, so he lost kind of on a penalty point. Let's see if that's how that plays out.
And again, right here we see it, Scott. He's got him tied up in a collar tie-up, goes to the single, and takes Ross down. You know, in the semifinals, we watched Ross wrestle Sadek out of Munising. Sadek took quite a few shots, but Ross beat him on his feet, scooting him behind quite a bit. Usually he uses his length and his leverage to get him behind a guy, but here we see Hafferkorn right underneath him with a 2-point lead.
He is fairly tall, so those legs make a big target for a guy who's a little bit shorter like Hafferkorn. And, well, right now Hafferkorn protecting the 2-1 lead, but out comes Ross in front.
Ross
I thought he was going to get 1. He's going to get into 2.
Yeah, he kind of turns right into him and just forces him over and gets his 2-point reversal.
Boy, just what you said, his quickness where he's able to scoot in behind.
He's got the leg in on top. He looks like he's working some kind of an inside wrist here.
Trying to rotate that arm out. He's used that move quite often in his high school career. Now Hafferkorn works back up to his base.
We have here, looks like Ross was working some type of a cradle there, and here he goes again.
Right back to it, he turns
Hafferkorn
it over.
leaves his head right by his knee. Ross jumps into a cradle, and he's earning near fall right here.
Boy, this is kind of a surprise. really nothing looked like it's happened. All of a sudden, boom, he throws him to his back in a cradle.
It looks like Haferkorn has his shoulder up. He's not going to get pinned in this situation because his shoulder's in the air. But here we see Ross going out to the side, really putting a lot of pressure on, but Haferkorn, again, his shoulder's up in the air on Ross's neck there.
Boy, look at him. Look at the faces on this.
Both guys are really working hard in here. And we can see Ross has kind of gotten himself out to the side. He's trying to belly down and get a lot of pressure on that shoulder. He's using his chin to pull the shoulder down, and he's really close.
And there it is. Boy, right on the horn. Let's see. Is it
right
going to be
at the
good?
end of the match. I think he got it in right before the buzzer
The
stopped.
officials kind of talk to each other. Really no indication yet. Let's see what the call is.
He's looking at the head table to make sure he's going to make the right call. Russ Percolosi, you can see him right
Once
there.
Again,
he's shaking his head yes.
They confer, and that it is going to stand.
Yeah, there we go.
Dan Ross has pinned Tracy Haferkorn at 159. You see, he just realizes it. And Dan Ross, the number 2 seed, is the UP champion. A great finish for a great career for Dan Ross. And now it's time for the big boys, and we've got a couple of big boys. Number 1 seed Bill Baker, from a record standpoint, the best in the tournament at 37-0. He takes on Don Balsavich of Escanaba, a senior who's got 19 wins against 8 defeats. To get here, Baker pinned the number 5 seed Mike Amaker of St. Ignace in 28 seconds, while Balsavich needed overtime against Lee Carignan of Gladstone. Well, here we go, the 4th meeting between these two wide bodies. I tell you what, and Bill Baker has won all 3, and it looks like as we get underway, it's going to be another one of those aggressive, no-holds-barred match. And you see Bill Baker kind of just shoved him right over.
Yeah, Bill Baker's really put together well. He's really strong for a heavyweight. He's not one of your big, fat, sloppy heavyweights. But on the other hand, Balsavich, he's put together fine. He weighs probably only about 210 pounds compared to 270 out of Bill Baker. So you see at the end of that, or on the edge of the mat there, Baker able just to kind of throw him out of the way.
Well, you see Russ Percolosi step in and kind of try to calm Balsavich down a little bit.
Well, you know, he's got his adrenaline going. He wants to be real feisty, and you're going to have to do that to wrestle a big guy like this. Baker almost getting a takedown here on the edge of the mat. I think we're going to see a lot of pushing and stuff, shoving. That's what's happened in all 3 matches with these guys, and it should be rather interesting here.
It really, looks like they're kind of waiting for Baker to make a mistake where he can capitalize, because you said there's a big 60-pound weight difference, and you really got to pick your spots when you wrestle a guy that much bigger than you.
Yeah, and he's also, Baker's also, not only strong, but for a heavyweight, he's very quick, and he's actually pretty agile, too.
We'll move now to the start of the 3rd period with Bill Baker on top 3-0. Balsavich has 2 penalty points. Bill Baker an escape to make the 3-point differential. And that's a lot of weight riding on top of you. But Don jumps right out, and now it's a 3-1 match.
He gets up to his feet, really gets his hips out. Nice hand control, and he pops out for the escape. He's done that all day long. He's real quick from underneath.
Both these guys, I think, have spent a lot of time in the weight room, and you see, again, a little cat and mouse happening again as Balsavich kind of walks him to the edge of the mat. Now, he's been penalized a couple times for playing the edge, and now he comes on the attack, and Bill Baker just kind of sags and gets 2 points.
Out of all the shots that he has taken, that's probably not the best one he has. He kind of got off to the side. A couple times he's got into the leg a little bit, but here he doesn't get a great shot. Baker gets the takedown, and then Balsavich again with the escape.
So that'll make it 5-3, and it's going to come down to the end of the match. Maybe, again, who's going to get the last takedown is going to win. Here we go, 14 seconds left, a 5-3 score, and they're into a bear hug.
Baker's right into a bear hug here, and he lifts him right off the ground, Scott, takes him down to the back. He took him down pretty hard bear here, but you see Percolosi down counting near fall,
and
the time runs out.
And you can see
you can see their coaches out there yelling about it, but you didn't see either official make any movement. Percolosi went down and made the near fall count. And look here, Balsavich jumps right up. He's calling Baker over to shake his hand, and that's a sign of a true athlete right there, too. We knew it was going to go down to the end, Scott, and it was a great finish.
That is unbelievable. There's the champion. Let's take another look at that, Tim, and just get a better look. There's the final 2-2. And here
you can see right here, Baker's in real tight. Balsavich was straight-legged. Baker takes him right up in the air, down to the mat. sits his hips out to the side, kind of a reverse half, really putting a lot of pressure on. We see Percolosi coming in for the count, and he does get a 2 count in, and he's awarded 2-2 here.
480 pounds up in the air.
Wow, that's a lot of tonnage coming down to the mat there, Scott. And that's just a huge finish to a great match, and congratulations to both of those guys.
So that brings to a close the 32nd annual UP Wrestling Finals. There you see Bill Baker going over to shake hands with the Escanaba coaches, and he raises his hands in victory. There's Bill being met by his cousins Brian and Matt, also UP champions, and each one of their fathers were also UP champions. A very special moment there. And speaking of special, the special awards this year, Jared Bowerman voted Mr. Wrestler of Upper Michigan by the UP Wrestling Coaches Association, and the recipient of the first ever Ray Mariucci Trophy, symbolic of UP wrestling supremacy, goes to the Escanaba Eskimos, who finished #1 in the coaches poll. Tim, some final thoughts on the tournament.
Boy, it sure was a great tournament this year, Scott. The final round might be one of the best final rounds that I've seen in the last few years. It lived up to what everybody expected it to be, and it's great that these guys are going to be on TV again and let people see what UP wrestling is all about, and hopefully it'll continue to grow up.
Let's thank our sponsors, the Mead Publishing and Paper Division, Nelson Chevy Olds, Premier Engineering and Manufacturing, United Dairy Industry of Michigan, and these fine Menominee businesses. For Tim Wolf, this is Scott Fury saying so long from Menominee.